बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। अस्सलाम वालेकुम ख़वातीन व हज़रात। उम्मीद करता हूँ कि आप खैरियत के साथ होंगे and I welcome you all here today to the third lecture of consumer psychology. As usual, let me give you a brief review of what we discussed in our last lecture. Our last lecture started out with implementation of marketing concept, and in that we discussed the role of consumer research. We defined consumer research as a collection of different tools and methodologies that are used to study consumer behavior. Consumer behavior is extremely diverse and complicated as it changes across different segments of society. We further discussed and identified that the field of consumer research develops through the implementation of two basic paradigms. And these paradigms include, number one, positivist approach, and number two, interpretivist approach. Positivist approach is quantitative in nature as it seeks to find out statistical data of relevant information, and the sample is collected from the large sample of population. Usually, it tries to seek causes of behavior that could be generalized upon larger number of population. So companies use positive approach to find out that what should be the basic design of the product, what should be the pricing of the product, to explore the target consumers on issues like what are the different strong points in the competitors' products. And when this data comes back to the company, it provides them relevant information to make strategic decisions about their products. However, interpretivist approach, on the other hand, is more qualitative in nature. Efforts are exerted to identify that what are the underlying causes of certain behavioral patterns, certain thinking styles, and the quality of behavioral pattern across different consumption situations. So if you want to find out that how much a certain product is liked by the consumers in a target segment, you would use the positivist approach. It is essentially the question that I love this product, or this product is just okay, this product is just alright. Such kind of information helps you find out the exact positioning strategy that would be most successful with a particular target consumer. We then moved forward to discussing the three important strategic concepts, strategic tools that could be used to implement a marketing concept. These tools were, number one, market segmentation, number two, market targeting, and number three, market positioning. We defined market segmentation as a process of dividing a certain market in different categories of consumers with reference to their common needs and common behavioral patterns. Consumers can be segmented across many different variables. For example, they can be categorized according to their age, according to their gender, according to their socioeconomic backgrounds, according to their academic backgrounds. However, when we get into the process of segmentation, we need to understand that one segment needs to be properly identifiable and it should be extremely distinct from the other segments. Care should be taken in the segmentation process because if the two segments are very close to each other, they would tend to dissolve into each other. And the example that I gave you for that was that it would not be a good approach to segment according to the age into small groups like people between the ages of 27 and 28 and people between the ages of 28 and 29 because there is very small difference and they would dissolve into each other. So the best segmentation approach here would be to divide them or to look at them as people between the ages of 27 to 30 years old. We then moved forward to discussing the strategic tool of positioning. Positioning is more like what is the impression of a certain product in the mind of target consumers. And I spoke different statements in front of you and I was expecting that certain products would come to your mind as a response to those statements. Let me revive your memory and speak those statements once again. For example, the red color soft drink of Pakistan, certain brand name or product name might come to your mind. A cricketer drinking a cola drink from out of a bottle, a certain brand would come to your mind. If I say the word detergent powder, still another brand might come to your mind. Why these brands and products come to your mind is because these brands and products have positioned themselves accordingly in your minds. So positioning means that how a certain product carries a certain image in the mind of its target consumers. So these were the three strategic tools that we studied in our last lecture. Today we will discuss the concept of marketing mix. And in that we will also discuss about the four important elements of the marketing mix. However, you keep one thing in your mind that this concept will be discussed in the perspective of the fact that these days the markets are extremely competitive places because of the implementation of the marketing concept. Many different products are coming into being, many different competitors are coming into the competition, And since all the companies are targeting different segments, they understand the specialized needs of certain groups of people, and for every group of people there is a different product. So in this tough environment of competition, we will study the concept of marketing mix. Just to give you a brief background of marketing mix, the first and most important thing when we are deciding upon a certain segment of the consumers, the decisive criteria over here is that how would we provide customer value to the consumers in that particular segment. Customer value can only be provided through the use of certain marketing strategies or certain marketing actions. So essentially the statement would be more like this, that after we have segmented our target consumers and we have thought about the positioning, a certain segment cannot be targeted unless we design our proper marketing strategy. Marketing strategy considers customer value as it is delivered to the target consumers. It usually considers questions like how target consumers would be provided extreme value so that they always get stuck up with this product and they would not drift away towards different competitor products. The answer to such questions requires the companies to formulate their consistent marketing mix. This marketing mix would remain consistent in its nature over a certain time period and would also develop and evolve according to the developing and evolving needs of the market. However, before I take you to formally defining the marketing mix, let me give you a small example. This example is a bit of detail that we are going to discuss, so be patient and be with me. Suppose there is a company that is into producing hair care products, and their two main products are shampoos and hair conditioners. Their target population is males and females across different socioeconomic categories, for example, from poor people to extremely rich people. And their products are designed on the basic theme that these products would help the consumers get rid of their dandruff. The basic point in getting rid of the dandruff is that it is only after you have no dandruff in your hair that you would be able to have shining and glossy and healthy looking hair. So to get down to the shining, glossy and healthy looking hair, you need to get rid of the dandruff. And their product has been successful over the last 15 years that they have been operating in the market. However, at this point, they make certain specific observations and there are certain findings that they come to understand out of their marketing experience over the last so many years that they are in marketing. They come to find out that most of the competitor products, including their own products, they target both males and females simultaneously. They start thinking that maybe there is a difference amongst the hair care needs for males and females. And there is no specialized product that is exclusively targeting either male population or the female population. So they decide to get into the product research. After a lot of research, they come to find out that the male's hair, their nature is slightly different from the hair of the females. As in the male hair, the dandruff production is relatively faster and the magnitude is relatively more. So a need is felt by this company to come up with a special exclusive product that would only target the dandruff problems of the males. After they have perfected the product, they need to position the product in the minds of their target consumers. And to find out the best positioning strategy, they come up to conduct some qualitative research to understand that what is the basic need behind solving the problem of the dandruff. So they gather up representative population from across three different socioeconomic backgrounds, which are socioeconomic category A, B, and C. And they get them on one place and conduct thorough focus group discussions. Out of their focus group discussions, they come up to find that males' problem of the hair, males' basic wish of having shining, glossy, and high volume hair is essentially a problem of presentation. They further discuss this problem with the males and they find out that there are certain situations that are extremely sensitive with reference to presentation factor for the males. And those extremely sensitive situations might be, they start from general day-to-day life situations in which people go to offices, schools, colleges, and universities, and they interact with their fellow colleagues and friends. And over there, they need to look good, better, so that they could create a better impression. And if they have good hair, then they will always look good, handsome, and be successful in creating a better impression. They further discuss it out and find out that another very sensitive situation would be when a gentleman is appearing for his job interview. If he has shining and glossy hair, chances are that his presentation will be very good, which would give him an extra boost to perform during the interview. A third situation which was rather funny that came out of the focus group discussions was a gentleman accompanied by his family going to the girl's family seeking their daughter's hand in marriage. This was a very sensitive presentation situation, and they decide to come up with a promotion and advertisement strategy based upon these three sensitive situations, in which they frequently show different males in their day-to-day situations, or in their job interview situations, or in the girl's family's home where they are seeking their daughter's hand in marriage, and all these males failing in those situations because they did not have shining and glossy hair. Then they come back depressed and extremely upset, and they start using this particular shampoo, and the shine and the gloss and the health of the hair comes back. They go back in the same situation and they are successful. So based upon this basic idea, they frequently show males tied up in extremely sensitive presentation situations. They use the product and come out of it successfully. The promotion and advertisements based upon this theme turned out to become extremely successful in the target market, and gradually the better impression of the product was being rolled in the market. At this point of time, this company thinks that they need to further communicate with their target audience. And to further communicate with their target audience, they need an excuse to stay in constant touch with them. A brilliant idea comes to their mind, which is to establish a hair care makeshift clinic in the target locations where their target consumers are situated, going there on weekends, establishing a temporary hair care clinic where established beauticians will come and give advice to males about their hair problems. Simultaneously, they would give them a free wash with their shampoo and the conditioner, and they will show them that this is the difference that is created in their hair. This was funny, exciting, and a lot of males used to gather up on these hair care clinics, and they were in a constant touch with their target community. However, at this point, they come across another problem, that males from the poor socioeconomic categories, they do not have the opportunity or the resources to purchase a full bottle of the shampoo. Now, this was a big problem that was related to pricing, and how are they going to solve this problem? Another brilliant idea comes to their mind, which is that they design extremely attractive and colorful sachet packs, which could be purchased on very cheap price, and that would be sufficient quantity of the shampoo for at least 2 or 3 hair washes. So, and these sachet packs are rolled into the retail stores in poor socioeconomic category locations where all of the males would be able to purchase them in low quantity at a very cheap price. So, in a way, they have converted or split the price of the bottle into smaller segments and smaller chunks of the quantity of shampoo, which is very, very cheap. However, once the market competition gets very tough, they find out that on retail stores, they need to have more retail stores where their products could be rolled. So they target many different places in many different areas, and finally their product is across all the nooks and corners of the city, and products sales volume is increasing day by day, and it becomes massively successful product. Now, let me give you a small debriefing of this example. If you concentrate on this example, you would find out that we have discussed few very important elements. Number one was that this company comes up with an idea and they perfect a certain product after, of course, a lot of experimentation. Then they need to find out the proper pricing strategy for this product, and you remember the sachet pack strategy helped them get their product to the poor socioeconomic categories as well. The third most important thing we discussed was that as the sales volume increases, and to further increase the sales volume, they need to have more and more places where the product could be supplied to all of these people. And finally, we discussed the concept of promotion. And we found out that promotion is not just advertisement, it is a lot more than advertisement, which is maintaining a constant contact with their target customers, and for that matter, they come up with the hair care makeshift clinic option. So if you focus, 4 most important things that we discussed in this example are product, place, price, and promotion. These are the 4 most important elements of the marketing mix. Now, let us go forward to define the marketing mix properly. Marketing mix, as you can see on the slide, consists of company services and or product offerings to consumers and methods and tools it uses to accomplish the exchange. Put it in another way, marketing mix is the tools available to a business to gain the reaction it is seeking from its target market in relation to its marketing strategies. So, the four handles that a company has got are the four different tools that are manipulated with consistently and frequently to get the desired reaction from the target consumers in the market. So the four elements of the marketing mix are number one, product or service. And when I talk about service, service is also taken as a product. For example, a courier services, courier company's overnight letter mailing service is also a product. Or a hair cutting salon is providing services, but these services can also be considered as products. The second element of marketing mix is the price, the third element is the place, and the fourth element is the promotion. Now let's discuss all these four elements individually in a bit of detail. The first one is the product. Every time we come to think of a product, we think about all those items which come in many different shapes and sizes, which perform many different functions, and we just go to the market in a retail store and purchase those products from the counter. Important point over here is that when we go purchase the products, we don't essentially purchase the physical features of the product. We are in fact trying to purchase the perceived benefits out of that product. And it is this factor that makes a product very, very important for us. Consumers don't purchase physical features of a product, they buy the perceived benefits. So when we talk about product, we can think about product in terms of many different elements that constitute a product. These include features, designs, brands, and packaging offered along with post-purchase benefits such as warranties and return policies. At this point, let me give you a few examples of the products. One of the cosmetics company's CEOs once said that at the factories we are making cosmetics and at the shop we are selling hope. Cosmetics help people appear better, and people are always having hopes about looking better and better. They want to come out of the physical bounds of their physical appearance, and cosmetics help them out. So every time they go purchase cosmetics, they are in fact trying to purchase better impression. And it's a wonderful saying that at factories we produce cosmetics and at the shops we sell hope. An analyst once described the success of a fast food chain restaurant and he said that the success of this international fast food chain restaurant is not the wonderful hamburgers, the juicy hamburgers that they produce, but of the wonderful environment that they capture at their restaurants, where people come for a 20 to 25 minutes or maybe more time of break, which is away from their daily routines, which are very tough and rough. They freshen themselves up there and they go back to face the life again. Since we are talking about product in terms of the perceived benefits that it provides to the people, then the concept of product becomes entirely different. For example, courier services had a lot of business, billions of dollars of business in providing just one service to their target consumers, which was overnight letter mailing delivery service. However, they lost a significant portion of their business overnightly to the making of the machines like fax machines and internets. Now, if you concentrate, overnight letter delivery just provides a service to its target consumers that they can have their letters reach from one place to another place over the night. That helps the consumers perform or get the same service at a much cheaper cost and at a greater speed than overnight letter delivery service. So when we think about the product, and as you can see on the slide, product is thought about in terms of its design, the technology that is used to make the product, its usefulness, its convenience. Then what is the value of the product? How many needs does it satisfy? The quality of the product, the packaging, the branding, accessories that are supplied with the product, and different kinds of warranties. So product is not just one thing, it's a collection of many different things and services. So let's move forward in understanding product more over here. Product is not just a one-time thing. Just like we are growing and our needs are constantly evolving because of the modern technology coming, because of our lifestyle changing, we are busier than our ancestors and we are having more and more hectic lifestyle. And there are more and more gadgets that are constantly adding up into our lifestyle. Similarly, these give rise to different kinds of needs. And a product has to be alive. It does not have to be a dead product. Otherwise, it will be wiped out of the market. And how a product gets alive is just like life. Life grows up, life changes. Similarly, products need to grow up, they need to evolve to understand the consumer in better and better ways and serve them in better and better ways. So products are dynamic and constantly improve with experience, just like life. We like things that are alive, which is why products also need constantly to improve. Now, there are so many different methods that companies tend to use to change their products to help them evolve. And those methods are, for example, every year there is a new brand of the same model of the car, different model is launched of the same brand of the car every new year. There are specialized versions launched, new editions constantly keep coming out, improvements are constantly being made. Sometimes these improvements are real, sometimes these improvements are just supposed. And in this area, companies are just trying to educate their consumers on using the products in different and better ways. A lot of times, companies change the packaging of the product every year. All of these strategies are used to keep the product alive and new. For example, I am going to show you a slide in which a certain model of a car that they changed with reference to the evolving needs of their consumers. This model of a car is actually a minivan which can be used by the families. So as you can see on the slide, different changes that have been produced in the car are, number one, cheaper than the previous model. They are playing with the handle of the price. Better seating capacity. They are playing with the different features of the product and making it more and more comfortable for their consumers. Wider with more headroom and leg space. Again, the comfort is being targeted. Better suspension system. Once again, the comfort. 5-speed transmission and bigger and more powerful engine with better mileage. So all of these features are different features that have given a brand new look to the product and has created more appeal amongst the minds of its consumers. So students, I hope you would have understood that when we talk about product, we are actually talking about many different features that are included in the product, and we further found out that product is not just a dead thing, a one-time thing. Product has to be alive and it has to constantly grow up, otherwise these will be wiped out of the market. So at this point, let's move forward to the next element of the marketing mix. The next element of the marketing mix is price. Every time we think about price, we think about the money that we pay over the counter in a retail store to purchase a certain product. Well, this works for us, but when we talk about price in terms of consumer psychology, then price is a lot more than that. This includes the list price, discounts, allowances, and different payment methods that are used to supply the products to the consumer. Economists always think that if the products will become cheaper, then their demand will increase and products will be supplied to a larger number of consumers. And this will result in higher sales. However, apart from this, there are other factors related to the price as well. Price sometimes serves as a signal of quality also. For example, if you purchase a high-priced product, then you are expecting a high quality out of its performance. And if you are purchasing a low-priced product, you expect low quality out of that product. So, quality is sometimes considered a function of the price of that product. Away from that, price sometimes also tells us something about the consumer who owns an expensive product. It is definitely a statement about that consumer that he or she can purchase an expensive product, and in this way they stand out from the crowd, which works for them. So for these consumers, maybe purchasing a cheap priced product would not work out as purchasing an expensive product, as expensive product is used as a bit of a show off. So while we are trying to attract consumers, we need to think about the pricing strategy very effectively and very creatively to satisfy the needs of the consumers across different segments. Different kinds of strategies are used in prices, and one of the very popular strategies is reducing the price over a certain time period. This kind of strategy is usually used by the designing industry in the clothing and fashion. For example, when a new fashion of clothes are introduced in the market, their starting price is extremely high. However, that starting price goes down over a certain time period, and eventually in the summer sales or the winter sales, the price of that product is almost half of the original price. Then we are using different kinds of gift hamper schemes, different kinds of promotional schemes in which we allow the customer to purchase a certain number of products on a price that would be offered on a lesser amount. For example, you could purchase 4 different items of a soap at the price of 3. So you could see that the price is being manipulated with extremely creatively. At this point, however, it is important to note that there is a difference between the price and the total consumer cost. Consumer cost is everything that a consumer must surrender in order to obtain the rights to use the product and achieve its benefits. Let me give you an example that will clear you the concept of price as well as the consumer cost. For example, these days there is a growing trend of purchasing cars on the lease. So there are different financial institutions as well as leasing firms who are constantly marketing their services of providing leased cars to their target consumers. Usually such companies, when they advertise their products, they advertise it on the basis of the original price of the car. And all of the subsequent installments that the consumer needs to pay across a certain time period are calculated according to the original price of the car. This makes the whole thing very attractive for the consumer, and they are enticed into it. Only when they go to sign the contract of a car lease, they come to realize that there are a number of additional costs added with that as well. For example, those costs may include insurance costs. Then there are financial institutions or the leasing company's services charges for documentations and other processes. And then there is essentially the markup. Eventually, when they come to calculate the cost of the car, it comes up to become extremely higher than the original price that was quoted. However, at this point, consumer has been very close to the product that he has been dreaming of purchasing for a long time. So usually 2 kinds of behavioral patterns arise here. Number 1 is consumers decide to stretch their buying capacity and put themselves in trouble and buy the same car on an expensive price. The other option is that consumers reduce their choice and purchase a smaller car or a cheaper brand of the same car, and however, they come to purchase a brand new product out of this. So leasing companies and financial institutions are using this price tactics extremely effectively and are making their products constantly attractive for their target consumers. One of the ways companies provide consumer value to their target customers is by reducing the non-price costs. For example, a leasing company might reduce the price by eliminating the service charges that are incurred to the consumer initially. And they might think about reducing their markup charges, and that's how they increase the sales volume. Once the demand increases, the sales volume increases, and with the better sales volume, the revenue still remains the same. And one added benefit of all of this exercise is that the consumer stays happy and usually ends up getting the kind of product that they have. So dealing with the price requires a lot of creativity, and sometimes it seals the fate of a product, or sometimes it helps develop a product. At this point, let me tell you, there are other schemes and allowances that are also provided to the consumers. That is more like when a combination of products are offered to the consumers. When you purchase one product, then in price you get a sachet pack of another product. So variously you would be coming across different promotional schemes in which you could get a sachet of a certain tea leaves if you purchase a certain packet of biscuits. And if you're purchasing more than 3 packets of a certain brand of biscuits, then you are getting a bigger pack of the same tea leaves out of that. So there are different ways the factor of price can be manipulated. However, when you think about price in terms of consumer psychology, and let me show you on the slide that these are some of the factors that you are considering. Price includes strategies which include skimming, that is just skimming the surface level of the consumers. Then there is penetration. Price handle is used to penetrate amongst the consumer by making it cheaper and making it available to larger number of population. Then there are psychological benefits. You look better, you feel better with purchasing a certain product, and different other attractions of the sort. So students, I hope you would have understood the intricacies of the price. At this point, let us move forward to discussing the next important element of the marketing mix, which is the place. When we talk about the place, we think about all those places like retail stores where we go and purchase our products. But can you think of any other venues that are available to you from which you could purchase your products? Yes, it could be something like, say, you could now purchase your products on the internet as well. Maybe you are surfing through or sifting through the pages of a magazine and you find out that for a certain product, you have to fill in a coupon and send your demand for a certain product which would be shipped to you in a certain time period, so that's another way. You would have come across different persons who go from house to house in order to sell you the products. So there are many different ways that the concept of place could be thought about. So how do we actually define the place? Place is not just a place where the consumers go and purchase the products. Place means having the product available where the target consumers could purchase it. It essentially means the distribution of product or services through specific stores or non-store items. So when we think about the place, let me show you on the slide, we are thinking about all these factors. There are retail outlets, there are wholesale outlets, there are mail orders you could purchase on the internet, or you could get it from the direct salespersons. Like, for example, credit cards are a lot of times being sold by using the direct sales method, in which the credit card salespeople go from person to person and try to sell their credit cards. Then there is peer-to-peer, and a company might decide to use a number of these channels. Then their placement strategy would be based upon multi-channel. To convey you the importance of the place, let me give you another interesting example. When you visit a retail store, you come across many different products that are neatly placed in front of you. But have you ever thought that why these products are placed exactly in the fashion that the retail store presents it? Is it because they want products to be conveniently placed in their store so that all of the place could be intelligently utilized? Or is there something else? Usually when new products are launched, companies go to extended pains while negotiating with retail stores supervisors to place their products on such places where they would attract the consumers. So when you walk into a retail store, all of the products are actually placed keeping a certain strategy in mind. One strategy that retail store supervisors use is that all of those products that give them a higher margin of profit are placed in front, where consumers just walk into the place and they can see that product and they are attracted towards that product. Another example is for the kids. All the kids' items like candies and toys are placed on such heights where kids could actually go, touch them and feel them, so that the kids would be immediately attracted towards those products while they have touched it. Also, now they would convince their parents or any other elderly person who is accompanying them to have them to purchase that particular product. Retail stores placement is done extremely intelligently, and many different factors are taken into consideration. At this point, let me give you one more example, which is the success of the various international fast food chains all over the world. What you get in all of these places is a decent, nice environment where you just want to walk inside. And usually you would come across kids' play areas, as well as sometimes there are swimming pools. Sometimes there are different theme parks as well, which are converted into places like restaurants. For example, a restaurant might be shaped in a way like it gives you the feel of you are walking into a rainforest. Or maybe it might give you a feel that you are on the racetrack of sports cars. So different elements are used. However, when you go purchase a product on a place, always remember that the product placement on the place is very, very important, and the environment that they have created is also sometimes a unique product that that place is offering. It is the unique experience that you have over that place. Let's say you go to a very expensive restaurant just to purchase food. Of course, you are serving a basic biological need of your body, but you just want to go there over and over again because you want to experience the same peaceful, kind, and lively environment on that place. So place is also used as a product sometimes. It is very important to have secured important places to display the products. And simultaneously, it is very important to secure places on all those areas where the consumers are situated. And the factor of the place sometimes determines that how successful a product can become. It can take a product from a small shop to becoming an international chain. And to explain you that point of view, let me give you an example. Let us suppose that there was a gentleman who migrated to Pakistan after independence, and he decided to settle down in Lahore. This gentleman was in the mithai business since a few generations behind, and he decided to carry out the same business. So he hires himself a shop and starts making mithais. He is a thoroughbred professional, and he uses extremely pure and sometimes very expensive ingredients to achieve the right kind of taste and quality in his mithai products. Gradually, over some time period, this brand creates value amongst the minds of the consumer, and people from far off places start coming to this shop to purchase mithais. Another 10-15 years down the line, and the city starts expanding, and now there are a lot of residential colonies away from the downtown Lahore where this gentleman's shop is existing, and these people are now living away from the downtown on far off places. So a lot of times it is not possible for people who are living on far off places to come to the downtown and purchase mithai from this particular shop. Further years passing by and the population is constantly on the rise, there are more and more traffic problems coming up, and now there is a lot of consumers community that is totally untapped because they could not be provided with places convenient to them where they could purchase these products. So about 30 to 35 years down the business, this gentleman, just for the experiment's sake, decides to open a shop in a residential colony away from the downtown. And after some time, he finds out that the yield of the new shop is almost equivalent to the yield of the original shop. This is a very positive experience, so he decides to open up more branches, and after some time, there are about 15 different outlets in Lahore where this mithai is being sold. Now, simultaneously, there were a lot of people who were settled in Lahore, and they migrated away from Lahore in different countries, and they settled down there. These were the starving consumers for the same mithai, and every time they would come back to Pakistan, they would go and purchase this mithai. Or when a Pakistani gentleman is visiting them in another country, they would ask him to bring that mithai. This gives this gentleman another idea: let's start our mithai outlets out of the country as well. So over a considerable time period, this mithai shop that actually started from one home became an international chain, and all because they were constantly trying to solve the problem of the place. They did not have any problem with their brands, but since they started selling on different places, they started improvising their products as well, and now there were many more different kinds of mithais and additional items being sold all over the world. That created more and more jobs and more opportunities for the Pakistanis all over the world. So you see, students, that place is a very important factor that needs to be taken into consideration while the product strategy is being coined. At this point, let's move forward to the final element of the marketing mix, which is equally important. This is the final handle that is manipulated successfully and dexterously to achieve the desired reaction in the market. Yes, the fourth element is promotion. When we think about promotion, we think about different advertisements that we come across in the newspapers and magazines. We come across different television commercials, or we can simultaneously think about different advertisements on the radio as well. However, when we think about promotion in terms of consumer psychology, it is not just the advertisements. Promotion is a lot more than that. Promotion consists of all of the strategies to make the consumer aware of the existence of a product or service. It is not just advertising, it is actually the proper communication with the target consumers. The basis of successful promotion is developing an effective communication strategy, and an effective communication strategy requires answers to certain important questions. Today in this lecture, I would limit ourselves just to 5 basic and most important questions when we are considering an effective promotional strategy. These 5 questions, as you can see them on the slide, are: question number 1, with whom exactly do we want to communicate? Question number 2, what effect do we want our communications to have on our target consumers? Question number 3, what message will achieve the desired impact on our audience? What means and media should be used to reach the target audience? And question number 5 is, what should we communicate with our audience? Now let's examine each of these questions one by one. The first question is, with whom exactly do we want to communicate? An obvious answer that a marketing manager will give to you is, of course, the target population's members. But is it just the target population's members that we want to communicate, or are there some other members also that are important for a promotional strategy? Away from the target members, there are sometimes channel members as well. And the example of channel members is more like this. Sometimes pediatric nurses are often asked for an advice concerning diapers and other non-medical infant care items. A firm marketing such items will be wise to communicate with such individuals directly in their promotion. The second question that we mentioned in our first slide was, what effect do we want our communications to have on our target consumers? Managers would usually answer this question by saying that, of course, we want to have increased sales volume out of this communication. But that is something that we are targeting in the end. Of course, all communications are done to improve the sales, but when we are talking about the product's promotion, we are talking about the behavioral objectives that are more immediate in nature. We may seek to provide more information to the audience. We may want to educate our audience on certain features of the product, or we may want to recommend the product to others. We may suggest them that if you purchase this product, you may feel good about having bought this product. You may feel more and more important if you purchase this product. So there are many behavioral dimensions which are of more immediate nature and that are more and more important. And if all these dimensions are answered properly, these will help eventually to increase the sale. So let me say that our first scenario was that provide more information to our audience. The example of such an instance would be, you might have come across the cooking oil advertisements, television commercials, in which a certain cooking oil is hosting a healthcare program in which they are thoroughly discussing about the heart problems, and an expert who is a doctor working in the field of heart disease, he comes up to say that in order to decrease the heart disease amongst the population, the cholesterol level needs to be decreased significantly, and that is only possible through using a certain kind of oil. Is actually exactly the kind of oil that this doctor ends up recommending to the target consumers. So they are using a certain gentleman, a certain professional of authority who's recommending in an indirect fashion that particular product to the whole audience. Another instance that we discussed was educate the audience on certain features of the product. You might have come across television commercials of tomato ketchups in which they educate their audience to use tomato ketchup with a variety of foods, not just the traditional burgers or barbecues, but in fact they teach that you could make your samosas come more delicious, you could make your chaat and dahi bhale come more delicious, you could even use it with a dish of dal chawal, and that way there will be a new dimension added to the traditional food. So they are educating their consumers on how to use the same product in a different fashion, and that way they are trying to create more and more appeal for their product. The third instance we discussed was feel good about having bought a certain product. You might have still come across television commercials in which there are ladies who come up to say that I am feeling so lucky to be purchasing this detergent powder because every time I wash my husband's clothes with this detergent powder, they are almost like brand new, and that created a good presentation impression for him in the office, which finally worked out for his promotion. You might have come across different gentlemen on the television in different advertisements of the cars saying that I am so lucky to be purchasing this particular brand of car because this does not only meet with my family needs, but also helps elevate my social standard. So let's move on to the third important question that needs to be considered before going into the effective promotional strategy buildup. The third question that we mentioned in our previous slide also was, what message will achieve the desired impact on our audience? At this point, this is important to pack the message with certain kinds of words that are more meaningful and more suggestive for the audience to direct them towards purchasing that product. Marketing messages may range from purely factual messages to purely symbolic messages. The best approach is usually a problem at a hand. To convey to you that how words and images play an important role in the promotion strategy, let me show you the slide of an advertisement that I showed you in our first lecture. As you can see on the slide, this is the advertisement of the natural spring water, which is combined with the trait of the leadership. Everyone wants to become a leader, and that is the most attractive thing in this advertisement, and a gentleman performing a difficult task. This all makes you feel like the leader that exists inside you, and you want to purchase this product. That's how the appeal is created through this particular message with a skillful use of the words and images. The fourth question that we discussed was, what means and media should we use to reach the target audience? Can we rely on the package to provide information, or should we use some mass media? And if we have decided to use a certain mass media, then should we advertise it in television, radio, magazines, or newspapers? And if we are going in any one of these mass medias, then how and what elements should we associate with in these mass media? For example, which specific vehicles in television, like which particular television program, which specific magazine, on which particular page this advertisement should come, then maybe on which kind of website should we advertise our product. There are certain websites now that are frequently used by many different consumers all over the world in search of relevant information. These are the advertisements of different search engines, which are a very successful and effective medium for advertising the products that would have global appeal. Recently, a new media has also started coming up, which is the media of cable television networks. Cable television networks operate on gully, mahalla, colony, or village levels, and usually, apart from showing the regular legal channels, they come up with one or few of their own channels in which they are showing different movies or different plays. This is their own cable network channel. Now companies are frequently using the cable network channels medium as well, in which there are constantly coming up advertisements from some very, very reliable products as well. So this is a new media that is being used by different companies. Our final question was, what should we communicate with our target audience? This is very, very important, and the important considerations over here are, should we communicate in our communications near the time of purchase, or throughout the week or month? Do consumers seek out information shortly before the purchase of a product? If so, then where? Answering these questions requires knowledge of the decisions, processes used by the target market for this product. And more important over here is to understand that what is the consumer decision-making process. We will discuss the consumer decision-making process in a bit of detail in our next lecture. At this point, let's cap up the concept of promotion. As you can see it on the slide, when we talk about promotion, we talk about special offers, advertising, endorsements, user trials, direct mailings, leaflets and posters, free gifts, competitions, as well as joint ventures. Students, at this point, I would like to discuss yet another important element of the marketing mix. However, this is not usually included amongst the marketing mix concepts. This is a bit of a variation, and I have decided to include this element into the marketing mix today. And this element is called services. In our lecture at the very start, we talked about products and services, but when we talked about services at that time, we discussed services with reference to there being a product. Different services are offered as a product. However, at this point, we are talking about the services as auxiliary services that are attached with a product to make it more attractive for the consumer. For example, a fast food restaurant chain might provide free delivery service. A car repair mechanic might provide free pickup and free delivery service also. So there are many different additional services that are used in addition to the original product. They not only make the product more attractive, but they add value to the consumer on the whole as well. However, when we are deciding about including such services in our product package, we need to think about it carefully as to only the most important services need to be added up with the product. Otherwise, this whole process will become extremely costly for the company as well. So only the extremely relevant services need to be added up here. So let's cap up the concept of marketing mix over here. and let me take you to the definition of marketing mix once again so that you could see the whole previous lecture in the perspective of this definition. Marketing mix consists of company services and or product offerings to consumers and methods and tools it uses to accomplish the exchange. Finally, let me tell you that every time we target a particular segment with reference to a particular position in our mind, our marketing mix changes with reference to a particular segment that's being targeted. If we are targeting the entire market, then our marketing mix will be a general company marketing mix. If we are doing the differentiated marketing, which means that out of 3 or 4 target segments, we are targeting, say, about 2 different segments, then our marketing mix will change with reference to those 2 different segments, and that way this will be differentiated marketing. And finally, niche marketing, if there are 4 or 5 different segments of the consumers, then our marketing mix will only concentrate upon the needs and desires and requirements of consumers existing in that particular segment. Your target segments is all segments of consumers. All you have to do is to think about a marketing mix that will provide customer value to consumers in all different segments of society, which means that this detergent powder is marketed in all the segments in the entire market. Students, at this point, I leave you with the lecture material that we have discussed today until we meet in our next lecture to discuss further the concepts of customer value, customer satisfaction, and customer retention. And finally, we will discuss the concept of consumer decision-making process. At this point, let me say goodbye to you. I wish you the very best of luck. Please take care of yourself, your relatives, and your friends. Allah Hafiz.
वो लिस्ट में से निकाल